By introduction, distinguished guests and team members, Leeds children's teams members, good to see you here. My name's Yuri Matishin. I'm the MD of MLS. We have the privilege of working with the charity Transplant Sport for some 13, 14 years, working to deliver these annual Westfield Health British Transplant Games, and we'll be coming to Leeds. To welcome you, first of all, to this wonderful building and to the city of Leeds and to Yorkshire, we're very privileged to have our council leader, James Lewis, and we invite James up onto stage. Thank you.
Thank you, good morning. Good morning everybody. And first of all, I'd just like to say a big warm welcome to Leeds to everybody, and welcome to our Civic Hall. It's so great now that we're starting to see people coming back into the Civic Hall. We're starting to see events like this here. It does feel like and we are coming back and we are coming back to what I think we do best in Leeds, which is having people working together, having people at events like that. It's really great. I do welcome everybody to Leeds and West Yorkshire. I'm really pleased to see the Transplant Games going ahead after the postponement in 2021. We've got starting to get a good set of sporting events in Leeds. We started with the Tour de France Grand Depot in 2014. We've had the Tour de Yorkshire. We've had the Triathlon, and it's great to add the Transplant Games to our big sporting event. And of course, I feel I should mention this in every speech. You know, we finally have a Premier League football team in Leeds as well. So we're starting to, I'm starting to really make our mark in sport all the time, and it's great to have that. I'm really pleased as well to welcome the partners today. So the Leeds Hospitals Charity, the University of Leeds, and British Transplant Sport as well, too, who will come together to deliver this event with ourselves, and that's a great thing. And it's great to have the Transplant Games linked in with our hospitals in Leeds, which have a real specialism in transplants for both children and adults. I think it's really fitting it's in Leeds. I'm really looking forward to the Games, having some memorable performances, some great achievements, and I hope that all the athletes and their families have a really great time in Leeds during the event. And it's lovely to see everybody today. Thank you.
We'll not be stepping up and down like bobbing weed cats for too much, because we're going to have a much more informal event today. But to have a great Games, we need a great leadership. And we have been blessed this year, and actually for about 18 months, if not longer, to have a great chairman of the stakeholder board, Roger Burnley. And I'd like to invite Roger up onto stage to say a few words to bring us a light. Thank you.
Thanks, Ewan. That's the best introduction I've had for a long time. Great to see you all. Welcome this morning. It is not the first event to have been postponed because of COVID last year, and so it's been a long 18 months, so it's fantastic to be here today in person in Leeds to launch the Transplant Games 2022. It's also, I want to say, a particular welcome to Tom at the back there, leader of the council. Tom, thanks for making time, and to Sir Phil Wood, thank you for you making time, Dr. Phil Wood, sorry, I promoted you there, the CMO of Leeds Teaching Hospital. But welcome to everybody. Thank you for coming to offer your support and show your support, and thanks in advance for your support over the months ahead too. There will be next year in Leeds over 900 transplant athletes, participants in the Games. That's an awesome number, ranging in age from 3 years old to over 80 years old. Get that. So it's fantastic to have some of the Leeds team here today, the children's team and the adult team. Massive welcome to you, and thanks for making time in your day If you dipped out of school today, I hope that was okay. I hope we got you out of something meaty like double maths or something. So, big welcome. Brilliant. Big welcome to you. So as Yuri said, it's informal this morning. We've got interviews rather than presentations. You'll see on the screen behind facts about the game, scrolling through the increasingly long list of supporters and sponsors of the games. So without further ado, let's crack on. I hope you enjoy the event.
We're going to do this by interview stage, and technically it will work, but I'd now like to welcome a chairman of Transplant Sport who is wholly committed to promoting organ donation and transplantation. Every minute of his living day he thinks about it. The chairman of Transplant Sport, Dr. Paul Harden. Thank you. Good morning, gentlemen, both. I'm going to be moving the microphone across a little bit, but Paul, you've made a long journey down, or yes, up from Oxford. Can you tell us a little bit why you're so committed to the Transplant Games?
I think that it's a life-changing experience of transplant for everybody, and for many people, and some people in the room, it would be a life-saving experience. And to be able to then demonstrate the power of that and the benefit to that individual and to the wider society from that individual's contribution through an active process such as participating in sport, the games, the camaraderie, the team spirit, is very rewarding and also humbling to some extent. And to be able to help facilitate that and make that happen is a really important thing. And we in the service industry that provides the medical support, the nursing support, the donor coordinated support, reap huge benefit from seeing people's lives transformed back to an active life.
I'm going to pass the mic here to Roger. Roger, why are you involved with these games?
A good question. Two reasons really, Yuri. First of all, like many people in the room, I have a very personal connection to transplant sport. So my daughter Jodie, who has cystic fibrosis, had a double lung transplant just over 9 years ago now. It was a life-saving transplant and a life-changing, transforming transplant, and she's 27 now and tour de force still and going great guns. So that's the first reason. And second will be that as the boss of a large business in Leeds until this summer, I was the boss of Asda until this August, so I'm really keen that we have a fantastic games that's brilliant for Leeds, but not only for Leeds, for Yorkshire up here.
And that's great to hear, Roger. We thank you for your support. I'm going to ask Paul just a little question about, we've come into the games and transplant recipients have been shielding for some time. What's it been like through the pandemic and the experiences?
I mean, there are people here I'm sure have experienced this, and from observing it as a doctor, it's been very hard for many people. The isolation, the lack of social contact, the fear of going out has been paramount amongst the immunosuppressed and shielding population. And I've still got patients that are still afraid to go out and still afraid to do things. And so it's really important that we send a message to all our patients that as long as there are precautions, it is safe to go out and do things. And by demonstrating this through organising events like our satellite events, but also the Transplant Games next year, it's the best way we can show that it's safe to do these things, and we've got to get back to leading as normal a life as possible. After all, the main reason for having a transplant is to get back to normal life, and we should encourage that as much as possible.
That's a great phrase there from you, sir. Let's encourage people to get back to normal life. And Roger, you're a very driven man. In fact, you won the cycling sportive, came first, which was really quite impressive actually, and you left your wife 45 minutes behind. That was even more impressive. She was on a bike too. But what does success look like for you next summer when the games have been?
Yeah, thank you, and thanks for bringing that one up again. Yeah, it's three things really for me. First of all, first and foremost, that it is a fantastic event for all the 900 athletes and their families. It's a tremendous inclusive event, so that's got to be first and foremost, that we have a fantastic event for the athletes and families themselves. Secondly, it's a great event for Leeds, for our businesses and communities, but as I've said, across Yorkshire. We're hell-bent on this event striking a chord across all our communities across Yorkshire. And so it really strikes a chord and has profile and makes a difference in Leeds, because as we said, Leeds puts on a cracking event and sporting event, so we'd like to add this to that long list. And thirdly, and probably most importantly, that there is a tangible legacy to the Games. So a fantastic legacy would be that we increase the number of people across Yorkshire who want to be organ donors, organ and tissue donors, that sign up and register to be organ and tissue donors, and that crucially have the conversation with their families and loved ones so that they are clear when the moment comes that that is their loved one's wish and desire. And if we can do that, that will be a fantastic thing and a fantastic legacy. It is a fact that we are all twice as likely to need a donated organ or tissue than we are to be an organ or tissue donor. And 3 people will die today because they're waiting in vain for a donor. And that has to change. So that's the legacy that I'd love to see.
You had an idea, we discussed it, a physical idea about a Yorkshire legacy. What could that be?
Yeah, it would be fantastic, and actually this was Mahmood's original idea that you'll hear from in a second. I think one of the spin-off unintended consequences of the digital world and the digital database from donors and donation is that we don't all carry a physical card that's very prominent like we once did, and it would be a fantastic totem and part of that legacy if we could get hundreds of thousands of people across Yorkshire to be carrying a card, perhaps a card that's specific to Yorkshire and the Games, which makes it clear that I'm proud to be, I'm going to be an organ donor, and my family are clear in my wishes. So something we want to work on.
Perhaps a Barclay card with £100 on it, free of charge. Say, I donate. I do weekly. Paul, last bit to you. I want to hand over the mic. What would success look like as chairman of Transplant Sport? Successful games in Leeds. What would that hopefully bring?
I think a successful games in Leeds would be to see, first of all, the games happen, and for us to see a large proportion of the transplant population come to Leeds and have a fantastic event over a number of days. But even more, I hope that we can grow it. I mean, I think we'd like to see a 25% at least increase in the numbers attending, and we'd like to see lots of new people. So I think all our team managers should be put to a challenge, and our hospitals, to go out there, advertise what's going to happen here in Leeds, and tell all your patients about it. There are an awful lot of transplant patients in this country that have no awareness of this event whatsoever. And we need to get that message across. And it's really, and I look carefully at the CMOs, the medical teams, the nursing teams, the coordinators here, it is the healthcare workers that can influence this. And we need to get that message across. There's not enough of us in our different hospitals that are advertising the real benefit of this type of event. So that's what I'd see as success, more participation from more people and lots of new people.
Thank you, Paul, and also thank you, Roger. Great moments there on stage, ladies and gentlemen. Show your appreciation. Thank you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it feels a bit Parkinson-esque, but I'm not Parkinson at all, am I? Dreadful. To fund these games takes a lot of resource, skill, commitment and financial input. And I'd like to invite 2 people onto stage who provided those kinds of support. Ladies and gentlemen, the Chief Exec of the Leeds Hospital Charity, Esther, I know you're here, Esther Wakeman, and the Chief Executive of Westfield Health, David Kappa. Would you come and join us on stage? I'm going to hand this to Esther first.
Thank you.
Good morning, both. Good morning, both. Good morning, both. And Esther, Leeds Hospital Charity has been a fantastic supporter of these games. And can you give us a little reason as to why they've got so heavily involved in supporting the games here in Leeds?
I can give you one word, it's Lisa. So Lisa is a fantastic champion for the games, and we know as Leeds Hospital's charity that it's our job to work really closely with the frontline staff to make sure that we can do the things over and above what the NHS can pay for. So as the charity for the hospitals, we're very keen to keep people like Lisa happy, and you know, the standards that the staff in Leeds Children's Hospital and all of the hospitals have is so high for their patients. They're so passionate about doing everything they can to deliver the best care, the best experience, and it's our privilege as the charity to be able to raise the money to enable them to do that.
And Leeds has a fantastic reputation in transplantation, hasn't it?
It has. I mean, it's world leading, and had a call recently with Phil about you know, a piece of equipment that we're looking to fund, and you know, as a leading research centre for transplantation, as well as being able to deliver absolutely, you know, cutting edge treatment and surgeries that other parts of the country aren't able to deliver. I mean, we're one of only 2 centres that are able to complete transplants where the donor is under the age of 2. There's a number of things that are quite remarkable that are done in Leeds that are absolutely leading the way for transplantation.
And recipients or the transplantees are coming from all over the country, or is it the north of England?
So the transplant teams come from, well, everywhere. I mean, it's an absolutely amazing community, and it's so exciting actually to see, and I've met some great people already this morning, and I think, you know, particularly with the sort of what everyone's been through, and you know, for most of us, we've sort of got through it. I think for people who have had to shield, who've really been isolated, it's an opportunity for them to be able to get together and, you know, talk to their peers and really have a good time. And that's what we want to achieve with the games, is for it to be fun and for people to really have that feel-good factor.
On behalf of Transplant Sport and all these wonderful transplant athletes, we thank you so much for the support that the charity has given us and continues to give us in inspiring and supporting. And you yourself, Esther, are always there saying anything you need. That's fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to pass this over to Dave. Dave, great to see you here again. And good morning. And David, Westfield Health have been partners of these games. And Graham Moore is now a patron of Transplant Sport as well. They've been a partner of these games for many, many years, and you've continued that legacy, and perhaps you can tell us why Westfield Health is so involved with these games.
Yeah, I think it started in 2008. I think we supported the games in Sheffield, and I have to say we're delighted the games are in Yorkshire. It's fantastic. We need to create that Yorkshire legacy, Roger, for sure. But I think from the first moment we got involved, at Westfield Health, you know, we have no shareholders, so we exist to make a difference. And our core purpose is to improve quality of life, and we've always said, and it's continued this legacy, there's no greater way to improve quality of life than through the gift of life itself. So it's something that encapsulates everything that we believe in, that we exist, the reason why we exist, and I do think we're at a crossroads, Yuri. I want to make sure Westfield I don't want to wait a year before Team Leeds engage with Westfield going forwards. I want that to feel different, and I think we're in a place now where we can support the transplant community more than we've ever done before, really, so it's really exciting.
And I mean, you've already been supporting us for many years, and hopefully that's a message about supporting us going forward.
Absolutely, he's always trying to close the deal, isn't he?
You best negotiate in front of an audience.
but I will say yes, and we've got a big 50th celebration in the future. And I want personally Leeds to be that catalyst You know, I've worked in and around Leeds for many years now. I know it'll be a great game. That's what Leeds do. They put fantastic events on. We've got to use this to create the Yorkshire legacy, but to, you know, the transplant community, what we've all learned so much in the last 2 years, you know, as human beings. But, you know, my dad's gone through a story as well with kidney failure, and it's a lonely period. And we've got to engage and, I think, create more touch points between the games so we can live healthier, happier lives leading up to those games. So that's something that I'm really committed to working through.
That sounds fantastic, and we'd love to engage with the new website we will launch, which is Living Well with Your Transplant, and to have it full of resources and information about those people we've yet to communicate who've had a transplant and not coming to the games. As Paul mentioned, there's a huge number of people yet to do that, so it's great. Will you be coming to Leeds yourselves?
I 100% will be. I'll be. We're doing the fun run, right? I'll be trying to get involved with that again if my legs hold out. But for those that haven't been, it will be the best event you'll attend next year. It's a wonderful event. It really does capture, it inspires, it motivates, and it really grounds you in terms of what's important in life. So really looking forward to being here. My family will be too.
David, thank you for your support. It's truly inspirational and important to the games on behalf of Transplant Sport. Esther, likewise, I assume you'll be doing the fun run too, the 5K or the 3K even. I mean, Dave set the challenge.
The 3.
She can't say no, but she'll be there, as all you will be out there, all nodding politely. Get running, get practicing. It's only a 3K walk or a 5K jog. It'll be fine, and you'll do really well. Come and join the whole transplant community, because this event is where the entire transplant community is in one place. Physicians, clinicians, recipients, donor families, and we're all there together. It's often a siloed existence outside of these games. Thank you to you both. You're providing a bedrock, along with a number of other sponsors who have joined us today, and you're our encouragement to get them on board. And I'm hoping that they're here seeing this commitment and will continue to commit to the games going forward. Thank you both. Esther and David. I'm getting nods from the back of the room that I'm picking up time quite well, so I hope hopefully doing it, because there's a whole range of interviews with the media to follow afterward, and it's going really well. Just to bring now a couple of people up onto stage who've done so much to promote organ donation in all sorts of faiths and communities across the region. This is a hugely diverse area, Yorkshire. I was born and bred in Bradford, moved to London, hated it, moved back up Yorkshire. It was great. So I live in Sheffield now. So, ladies and gentlemen, he's an NHSBT National Ambassador, but he's involved in so many things here in Yorkshire concerning organ donation, and he's a donor family member. Will you welcome Mahmoud Nawaz? And come on, Mahmoud, where are you? And one of our renal physicians at Leeds, who does so much himself as well, Sunil Daga. Come on up. Thank you, Sunil. Just that's it, negotiate round us. You were here early this morning, Sunil, weren't you? So just like any good surgeon or physician, you're there in good time. Sunil, I've always been amazed that you've invited us to all sorts of different events involving people from overseas, never mind in the UK. Can you tell us a little bit about why you're so committed to promoting the cause of organ donation?
Well, I don't think I need to repeat anything what my colleagues have said. I look after two groups of patients, one who is not an organ transplant recipient, and the other who are recipient of an organ, and they are absolutely different. So I don't think as a clinician I have any doubt what is good. But what I found over the years in my training is something is wrong. There was a problem, but we didn't have really good solutions. And I thought, rather than actually try to fit various things into what we already have, we need to work more collaboratively, more with other colleagues, and rather than saying hard to reach communities, I think it's important to emphasize they're underserved. And when you say about underserved, it comes back to you. How are you going to serve those people or serve those groups who aren't getting benefited, who are waiting longer for a transplant. And it actually was the case not only for deceased organ transplantation, but also greater disparity in living kidney donation. So those people not only waiting longer on national waiting list, but also not able to pull through that lucky draw as a living donor either. So I think that's how we started the journey 5 years ago, and we just grown both nationally with colleagues in hospitals, charities, and also with Commonwealth countries. I think the key thing I would say, it's a responsibility for all of us. We are privileged, we have some knowledge, and we need to reach out beyond the boundaries of what you're set up, whether it's a hospital or wherever you are. So just blur those boundaries and work together.
Thank you, Sunil. It's amazing, and you're just endlessly campaigning for organ donation amongst all sorts of communities, and thank you for supporting the Transplant Games. I hope you're going to attend the Games and be part of us. I'm going to introduce you to Mahmood. Mahmood is involved in organ donation committees. You're on the board of Mid Yorkshire Hospitals, and very much a member of the stakeholder board as well. Mahmood, what's your personal story, and will you be coming to the Games?
Second question's easy, yes, and in fact it will be my first game, so I'm really looking forward to it. I've heard so many things, not just here, but from so many of my friends who are out here as well in the organ donation community. So my personal story is in 2004, my wife Sharon collapsed suddenly of a brain hemorrhage in Bradford, actually, and unfortunately she died, but she had always wanted to be an organ donor. Her organs were used to save 4 lives, including a little boy of 1.5 who wouldn't have made it to 2 without part of her liver. 2 of those 4 transplants actually were done here in Leeds, at St James's. I feel quite lucky in the sense that she always wanted to be a donor. I knew she always wanted to be a donor, and the reason I knew is that we had a conversation about it. And we had a conversation because, as Roger referenced earlier, she had that little plastic card in her wallet, which is a great conversation starter. So I knew what she wanted. She left me certain. I knew. So I feel very grateful to her that she had prepared me for that horrible question to be asked when you're in the middle of shock and grief. But I didn't then have to think about the answer to that question. I knew. And I can honestly say, when I found out, especially about that little boy, that whose life was saved because of her decision to be a donor, I was really overjoyed.
That's an amazing story, Mahmood. And do you, is your sort of awareness of the Games now a little bit more aware? Do you think the Games now can help promote organ donation, transplantation, as well as living well with your transplant?
Yeah, definitely. I think it is a community. It's a community of lots of different people, whether it's donor families like myself and many of you who are out there as well, recipients, people on the waiting list, the clinicians who I think are just miracle workers in terms of the work that they do, the clods, the snods, lots of acronyms, the chairs, you name it. There's a huge number of people, sponsors like Westfield Health doing amazing work as well. So I think it is a huge community, and to bring that community together as a celebration of the gift of life, I think would be something really special, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Thank you, Mahmood. And Sunil, just a last word. What might we do within the hospital community to get more of our clinicians and physicians involved in the Games? Could they come along and form their own team, maybe?
Well, as I said, I think it should be seen as their extended responsibilities about their patients, and how important this is, celebrating that greatest gift somebody has received. So I think clinicians and nurses should do this part of that clinic conversation. I certainly feel that I have recruited a few patients who they have hopefully approached the Leeds Games. And I think that should be part of the conversation, just like we are talking about organ donation conversation. All of this should be part of the routine things. And I wish that can be integrated in the clinic, and we have some time to think about the greater good rather than sort of troubleshooting currently.
Can I just ask you one last point?
It's a good thing to be physically active after your transplant, isn't it? Because there's almost sort of counterintuitive. You think, oh, I've got to hide myself away. But physical activity, the right type, is a great thing.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of research studies absolutely endorsing that physical activity, whether that's on dialysis or after transplant, not only increase the lifetime of the organ, but also your life expectancy. It's really important. It prevents various other complications that transplant recipients get, such as diabetes and obesity-related problems. So no doubt, I know where you're heading, Yuri, that a third of the recipients, we don't see them in the games, and how do we get those third of the recipients actually have equal proportion? I think, for me, the success of the game would be the representation in games should be same in terms of characteristics and proportion of the recipients who are receiving it, or the donors. I think that's a great challenge for all of us in the room. How are you going to get those people on to celebrate what they had and actually pass that messages?
Thank you, Sunil. It sort of hooks up with the message, call to action from Paul, our chairman of Transplant Sport, to get more of us informing our transplant recipients of the opportunities of participating in physical activity, and then in the end, meeting all their peer members of the games. So, Mahmood, we hope to see you there. And you too, Sunil. Thank you to both you gentlemen for your wonderful work in the area. Thank you. Right, now then, this is about the actual participants. So can we invite everyone from Team Leeds up here onto the floor, and we want to have a few chats with some of the kids who are going to be in the games. Don't be frightened by me. Come on up, guys. Come on. Well, they all look hesitant now. They're all sat on the stage having the photos taken earlier, weren't they? So, can we get some names? You will say something, won't you? What's your name?
Mia.
Mia. Thank goodness. Mia, now, are you looking forward to the games in Leeds, and why?
Yes, because I get to compete in lots of different sports.
Which sports would you like to compete in?
I don't know.
I don't know. Is that on our list, Andrew? I don't know sport. Or which direction, maybe? Do you like table tennis? Do you like tennis? Swimming? She does running. Thank you. Running. Mia, you're doing running. The 100, 200, 400, 800 and 1500 metres. Is that okay with you, Mum?
No.
Okay. Well, would you start training now?
Yeah.
I'm not asking good questions because I'm making you say yes and no. I'm going to have to think of some better questions. But you're definitely going to come to the games. And who else will be coming with you?
My brother.
Is he going to be there? Is he any good at sport?
Yeah.
And what transplant have you had, do you know?
A kidney.
And when did you have that, Mia?
2.
When you were 2? Wow, and you look fit, strong and healthy?
Yeah.
Excellent. Would you want to give a shout out to your school? Or do you want to keep it anonymous in case you get brought up in front of the headmaster or head teacher? What school does she go to?
Hookstead Chase.
Hookstead Chase. Missing 2. Are you there as well? And are you going to come to the games?
Yeah.
Because you participate in some of the events as well, can't you?
Yeah.
The indoor athletics, isn't it? Oh, you're going to do the 5K fun run? Wow, the nodding. Well done, you two. We look forward to it. Okay? And we're going to make sure you get there. Hookstead Chase will be back this afternoon. Oh, hello. And your name, sir? It's Theo, isn't it? Hiya, Theo. And are you going to try and come to the games too?
Yeah.
And does he get excited? Do you get excited by it, Theo?
Yeah.
Excellent. But we're going to be looking out for you. Yeah? Brilliant. And Can we go through this line here? We're going to leave you until last. Now then, young lady. Excuse me, Lisa, you're in charge of these team members, aren't you? We'll come on then. Now then, young lady, what's your name? Tegan. Tegan, what's your transplant?
Liver.
And when did you have your liver transplanted?
15 years ago.
Can I give you this other mic so I don't look like a... There you go. Just test it.
Oh.
Great stuff. I was going to give it to Mia, but I wasn't sure. So you're going to come to the games, Tegan? Oh, well, you've been off a little while, haven't you? You've been training. So, mind you, there's all sorts of things you can do at the games. There's a lot of social activity too, isn't there? You're going to tell me what you get up to at the games, or don't you want to tell anybody what you get up at the games? Is it a really good 4 days out with no mum and dad?
No,
It's family time, cool. And perhaps what will you train up to for the runs or some less invasive things? You're a natural. Oh wow, you sound like a Brian Robson of old. You just get there. Wonderful, thank you. Tegan, can we pass on to Aki? Aki? Ash? Akash. Sorry about that. I keep thinking of your dad, your mum. How's it going? You're all right? We've been seeing you at a few games now. Have you transitioned from junior to adult?
Yeah, definitely. I dropped a couple of years ago.
So how many years at the games now?
Since I was 8.
8 years at the games?
No, since I was 8.
Since you were 8, so now you're 8, turned 23 now, haven't you? So you're one of our longest serving, is that right, Lynn? How many years is that? It must be... You're our longest serving. When I get round to you, yes, young lady, sorry. And what are you looking forward to next year?
Socialising with friends.
Socialising. I've not got a really good sort of, you know, we're athletic, we're...
I think compete as well. I do archery and table tennis.
Excellent. Well, that's more like it. There's all sorts of sports, isn't there?
Yes, there is.
Yeah, and in fact we do non-invasive sports and sports where you can come along and participate. Would you say it's just as important to be at the games, meet people who've gone through the same journey as you?
It's obviously been two hard years, so it'll be definitely to get back. Yeah, looking forward to it.
And I think the story of your family is you've had to shield and live separately, is that right?
So during the first lockdown, all the lockdown really, Mum left the house for 10 months. So yeah, it was really hard, but we got through it as a family, like we normally do.
So mum was with your sister and you were with your dad?
Yeah.
How come you got that end of the stick? Does he cook?
Yeah.
Oh, he cooks?
Yeah, he does cook. And he did well, so...
Fantastic. Fantastic. Well, that's, I mean, but we can be light at that, but that's a huge challenge, wasn't it, to be living apart as a family?
Yeah, it was hard, but we got through it, so yeah.
Congratulations. So it's great to see you here. I'm just going to join this young lady at the end. Now, you can introduce yourself, and how many years have you been at the games?
My name's Claire Core, and I first went to the games in 1981 in Manchester. I was the first successful tiny child to be transplanted at St James's. So my kidney is 41, and then in my 20s, whilst working for the transplant team, I went into liver failure, and my liver is now 24.
Well, that deserves a round of applause. Thank you. So this will be your 42nd games?
Well, there's been the odd couple where I haven't taken part due to being in liver failure and things, but, you know.
You make light of that, but you guys just power through. It is literally about the gift of life.
When I got told that I needed a liver by my boss, I said no, because let's be honest, liver failure happens to other people, doesn't it? He asked me again, I said no. I couldn't face the thought of it, but when he turned around and said you've got a choice, you have a liver transplant or you die, I decided to go for the liver transplant. I'm glad I did. The games have been part of my life since I was a child. I couldn't imagine not going. Yeah, I compete, but I go to raise awareness and to see all my friends, such as Lynn and Aki and all these other people. We're all just one big family. And when the games were in Leeds last time, I had the honour of doing the oath for the athletes, which was great.
Did I get it right? Was it 1999 in Leeds? Have I got that wrong?
Sorry, I'm not absolutely certain.
Anybody with a memory? No, I think it was 2003. Thank you, Paul. So 2003, it's back just nearly 20 years on. So that was really moving, and I look forward to seeing you, Theo, Tegan, Akesh, Mia, your brother. What does that mean? What? Oh, he's not sure. But ladies and gentlemen, some of our transplant team members from Leeds, and the lady who stood silent there was Lisa Bowman, who helps coordinate all this, who is a phenomenal tour de force with people like Lynn Holt and others supporting us. Lisa, can I ask to take the team members just to gather behind the flame? You'd like to come over here? This is the part where we've done a risk assessment, and please God it works. This part of the event, ladies and gentlemen, is where we light the flame in the spirit of igniting the flame for the games coming to Leeds. The donor flame has been donated by the Donor Family Network, and we'd like to invite a member of the Donor Family Network. She's chair of the Organ Donation Committee in Bradford, Karen Piotr, to come and light the flame for us. It's a very highly technical moment, this, and if you'd like to do that now, pass the candle, it's in your pocket. Okay. She's going to light it with that flame. So ladies and gentlemen, Karen, will you go to the rear, light it through the rear and light the flame? And we've only going to have 10 seconds of this, otherwise the alarm goes off and we have to evacuate the building. You will recall I gave you the evacuation procedures. So, please take our footage now. Just, everybody's got their pictures. Everybody's got their pictures. One more coming. We've had to, thank you. Sorry about that. We will reignite later on. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you to Karen. Just want to stay there for any more pics. You see, he does let out some flame and smoke, but thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, our appreciation to the team from Leeds, our children and our adults. Thank you to Karen for lighting the flame. That's why it's normally done outdoors. To make a final plea and a call to action, many of you in the audience are supporting the games. We've been showing that on the screen. We thank you for your support. But we'd like to invite Roger Burnley back as chair of the games, just for some final words and to close our proceedings. Thank you, Roger.
Thanks, Yuri. Yeah, that's just about it for this morning. A special thanks to everyone we've heard from this morning. That's been quite inspirational. Thank you to everyone who's spoken. Yeah, a massive plea, thanks in advance for your support over the next year, up to the games and through the games. So please, please, support us in kind, support us financially, support us with corporate volunteering will be fantastic for help through the games, the logistics of the games themselves. So if you want to talk to any of us, to Yuri or Andrew or myself, come and talk to us either today or in the days ahead, because we need your support. The games have been going since 1978 and we want Leeds to be the best yet, of course. And please do join up to the donor run on the Saturday. So we look forward to seeing you in Millennium Square on the 28th of July, and then the Saturday is the donor run. So please sign up to that. It's a really inclusive event. There are details on the table, brochures to take away, but sign up to that, fundraise for us as you do it. It's 5 kilometres. You have 248 days and 7 hours to get in shape for it, so you can all do it. So come on to that. That is it for today. Liquid PR, Holly there. If you want to, if anyone wants to talk to us or have any media interviews or photographs, please come and chat to us afterwards over the next hour or so. And please do come and have some photographs. I was going to say with the flame, but maybe where the flame was. And last but not least, James and the City Council, thank you for letting us hold the event in this amazing hall. It's been a wonderful backdrop to this morning. Safe travels, everyone. Thank you.